Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Low Side Podcast. This is a podcast where three dudes get together every once in a while, and we just talk about what's on our mind. It could be pretty much anything. Today's topic is going to be content creation, and by that I mean creating online videos for people and short films, feature films. I am your host, Nate, and I'm joined with Steve.
Hello, guys.
And Shreddy.
What up?
And how are you guys doing today?
I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm glad we finally made it to the podcast.
Yeah.
Finally did it.
Yeah.
This is a long time coming. We've always talked about doing something together, so here we are, forming a podcast. So if you are unaware of who each of us are, I will start off by saying that I run a extremely small, microscopic YouTube channel called Out of the Basement, and we make movie reviews and we talk about action figures and all sorts of nerdy nonsense that everyone loves to hear about these days. Steve, you want to give a little insight into your YouTube channel?
Yeah, basically, I'm, like I said, my name's Steve, and I host the Yalla TV YouTube channel. Also another very small channel, and basically on mine, I have two different sections that I cover. During the warmer months of the year, I like to do fishing, one of my favorite hobbies. And during the colder months, and something I'm probably going to do a little bit more regularly just because it's a little bit more easier to produce content for, is beer reviews, craft beer reviews.
No one likes ice fishing.
Right, yeah. I don't enjoy that. I like ice-cold beer, and that's about it.
I don't understand how people willingly go ice fishing.
Yeah.
Not
You
doesn't
have
see.
to really like the cold months to do something like that.
There's a lot of gear out there to purchase, and I'm not about to spend the money to do ice fishing.
True.
It's too cold.
True.
And also hazardous. Alex, what do you do?
Well, I'm Shreddy, nickname Shreddy, real name Alex. And I make films. I make short films. I make currently making a feature film right now. I spent most of last year filming it, and I've been editing since June. I'm hoping to wrap that up here sometime in the early summer. But yeah, that's pretty much all I'm working on right now.
Nice. So we're going to kind of go through. We'll give a little insight into the process of what we do individually when we start creating our videos / short films, movies, all that good stuff. Who wants to start first? Who wants to give a little insight?
I'll go first.
All right.
I'll go first because I feel I actually do have the smallest channel out of all three of us. But basically, how does it work? Okay, so for Yalla TV, when I do a beer review, I generally do it on off days from work. I'll probably start right around noon or 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So I do a lot of day drinking during the week. So I'll do that. I'll get my kind of like my pre-content stuff out of the way, pictures, Instagram stuff, thumbnails, kind of get all those pictures and just that whole process set up first. And then I get into the actual recording of the beer review itself. I would say the actual recording is literally only maybe 10 to 15 minutes. And then the rest of it is just quick editing, maybe some fillers with transitions, maybe some font here and there, a little bit of background music, and then it's done. I think I've noticed the biggest issue for me, though, is running into editing or uploading and converting the video from its raw file to its YouTube finished product.
Sure.
And for me, it's because I'm basically just running on older equipment, and I kind of pick and choose where I decide where I want to put my money. But right now, it's mostly just in the microphone and then in the beers that I buy. So a lot of the stuff that I use, like my computer is about 10 years old. So I've noticed a lot of the upload time. That's the biggest weight for me is upload time. And then after that, once it finally does, I'd say about an 8-minute video takes me about a half hour to upload, which is kind of crazy. But once that's done, like I'm sure like you, Nate, and Alex to some extent, I put my tags in, kind of schedule my show. I usually do actually my schedule for the beer reviews is on Sundays and Wednesdays, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time.
A late upload.
Yeah, late upload. So that's when I usually get most of my my videos out to you guys. And pretty small community. I went from about 19 to about now. Just yesterday, I'm at 91. So
Ooh.
it's a
Is
small.
this subscribers?
Yes, yeah, this
Wow.
is actual subscribers.
Awesome.
So
Dang.
it's been a slow process, but it's been a very cool process.
Yeah, I guess since we're on the subject of more so like internet videos and such, I'll talk a little bit about Out of the Basement. We started as a podcast all the way back in 2015. That was when I was first really getting curious about doing sort of online content. The podcast was terrible. You cannot listen to it. It's 100% off the internet because
How many subs before we can listen to this old content?
Ooh, I have it all on an external hard drive, and I'd be willing to share, but it's a
All right, guys, 10 million likes
There we
on this
go.
video right here,
Right.
and Nate is sharing all of the Out of the Basement videos.
all of the Out of the Basement videos. But that was just us trying to find our voice, trying to find what we like to do, and eventually. With using a platform like SoundCloud, they only give you so much storage space before you actually have to start paying for things. And obviously, paying for something that you're getting literally 10 listens on.
It doesn't
is-
make any sense.
Yeah, and it just is really discouraging. So we eventually moved to YouTube, and we started there. We started really taking that seriously last year with our review of the last Power Rangers movie.
Ooh,
That was when we decided we put our foot down. We were going to focus 100% on YouTube and just abolish the podcast and
Right.
just move on from that.
it's really working out for you guys right now. How many subs you at right now?
I don't know exactly off the top of my head, but we're somewhere in the upper 780 something, I would say.
I'll get you a count. Let's
That's
see where
pretty
we're at.
good.
Yeah, and exactly, it was definitely the channel was very stale when it was just the really long, like hour-long audio-only podcast that we were just uploading to SoundCloud and YouTube, getting very little listens on those.
So the thing that makes most sense to do is to do that exactly again with you two clowns. Let's just make, 4-hour podcast here tonight,
Yep,
guys.
I'm down. Let's do it.
Yeah. Well, I think the experience that I've learned throughout the years has really helped me, especially in terms of just making sure, like, staying on track. Steve, with the live subscriber count, we're at 787, so
Oh,
pretty
nice
close
job.
to 800.
Nice job.
That is 700 more subs than I have right, now.
Yeah, you're about
So
600 above me. So I'd say good job. Good
Yeah.
job.
So the process for doing just a typical Out of the Basement video, we shoot it all on our iPhones. We use a special app that Alex introduced me to.
Filmic Pro, here's your free plugin.
Filmic Pro. It's not a free app. It's pretty expensive. It's $14.99 now.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it was $9.99 when I first bought it, and then when Justin got it, who's one of my
They jacked up
co-hosts.
the price?
Yeah, they jacked up the
Dang.
price on it.
It's well worth it though.
Yeah, it definitely improves the quality. So if you're ever curious out there and you're not satisfied with iPhone quality, maybe look into that app
Yeah,
because
just-
it'll improve the video quality.
Just to give you guys the little tutorial, not really tutorial, but a heads up on what Filmic Pro does is it basically gives you full manual controls over the video on your phone.
Yep.
So you can control the exposure, the ISO, the color to some extent. So it's real nice
And
to
this
be
is
able to
all just on your phone. This
all
is
on the phone.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
all on the phone.
Yeah, it definitely helps, especially in like low light settings or something. I mean, obviously we have lights that we set up for every video because that's pretty essential. But yeah, we usually go through. We still do longer style videos, mostly like review discussions where it's us discussing a movie, or our action figure talk show where we just talk about like news or like certain things that are just in the community at the time. So it's pretty much the same as Steve. We take whatever day we have off of work. It's usually on a Tuesday. Tuesdays are usually content days. That's what we like to call them. But
Nice.
we'll go in, shoot whatever videos we need to. We'll usually do 1 or 2 videos a day just so we can have some stuff in the pipeline.
I was about to ask you guys if you stuck to just doing like one, whenever you guys came up with an idea, if you were trying to like stack up on content so that way, just do like one long shoot day and then just put out stuff throughout, weeks or a couple days a week or once a week or whatever you guys are doing right now.
Yeah, right now we're trying to at least upload twice a week, usually on Tuesday and Thursday.
With Jack Pauling
Yeah.
throwing out a video every day.
No, that's, I mean,
That's
he's
too much.
Yeah, well,
that's-
he's got a team of editors, so
That's true.
He's riding it. But yeah, Justin and I pretty much split editing duties, so it just depends on which one of us has more free time. But yeah, we'll do 1 or 2 videos. We'll both edit those videos. I've just recently moved up from editing on Windows Movie Maker.
Yes.
The first like year of our channel was all thumbnails were made in Paint, and the videos were edited in Windows Movie Maker, and that
It was very painful for me
yeah
to watch Nate do this.
yeah I wasn't willing to spend any sort of money on real editing software because it's very expensive, as I'm sure anyone who's ever looked into it has found out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That
If you want some good stuff, you're gonna have to pay up.
Yeah, but great website. Humble Bundle had Sony Vegas for $20, so I got that complete Sony Vegas Pro 14, and that has really improved my editing already, just right off the bat. And I'm really enjoying the editing process a lot more now. It's a lot less frustrating having accurate, like frame by frame control as opposed to very broad strokes that were like how Movie Maker was designed. So. Editing has definitely improved for me. I actually really like it now. I used to kind of dread doing it, so
I guess you should start just editing all my videos then, because I hate editing.
yeah.
So if you're down,
I
I can't pay you, but if you wanna, I'll even let you use Premiere.
Ooh. There's just something about it. It's so relaxing to me. I don't
It is
know.
actually pretty fun.
I put my headphones on and I'll put like a movie on quietly in the background and then just sit there and just kind of edit all day.
Yeah.
But usually for me, one of our videos, depending on how comedic I'm feeling, if I'm adding stuff into the video or not, typically it'll take me around like 5 to 6 hours to edit one of our videos that are usually around 20 minutes long.
Yeah.
Especially now, just like I said, having the precise control of editing has really made me want to be precise and like get rid of a lot of like dead air.
Sure.
And if we flub a line, then we just repeat the line. And like before, we used to not be able to do that. Like if we were saying something and we messed up what we were saying, like that was it. We just rolled with it because it was just hard to edit it out in Movie Maker. But yep, upload to YouTube 4 a.m. That's our crazy algorithm theory because no one knows how the YouTube algorithm really works. So it's really just a guessing game. Steve uploads at night.
Yeah.
I upload in the early morning. So it seems to be working out, both of them.
Mm-hmm. I think, as far as like editing goes for me, I haven't spent a lot of money on my editing equipment, but I use Wondershare from Filmora, and I know that was a pretty popular editing program that was pretty good, I guess you could say. It's not top tier by any means, but it's like middle of the road. You can pretty much do all your basic functions that you want to do, and especially for my channel, there's not really much editing. I pretty much do everything all in one take. If I mess up, I pretty much leave it in there. If I stutter with words or anything, I'm leaving it in there. Sometimes it's funny, sometimes it's pretty cringy, and then other times I'm just like, whatever, it's fine, it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
But I notice like with the community that I'm speaking with, it's not as important as maybe some other channels and things like that. But I really do enjoy Filmora. For me, it's user friendly. I don't use Sony Vegas or Premiere or whatever it is that you guys use that are super awesome programs. A little bit too advanced, I would say. And you guys say that it's not. And I've tried it a few times. I probably should have gave it some more time, but I do like Wondershare. Pretty user friendly, but I like all the free. There's a lot of free like transitions. There's free music. There's free overlays. All the different kinds of stuff that I like to use. So for me and what my channel is, it's very basic, but it works. It works for what I need it to do. So
Yeah,
I'm a big fan of it.
And really, with most of the editing that I put into a video, it's just to kind of avoid it being just like the talking head syndrome, because we only use one camera angle.
Right.
Just because we're not that advanced yet to use more than one. We have a couple videos that are multi-camera, and those were just like a long time in the editing process to get those to turn out well. So
Yeah.
We really just are doing the one camera focus. But Alex, you are the content creator that is sort of different from us. You do upload to YouTube.
I do upload to YouTube.
But it's not your platform, I would say.
Right. Because I'm not really uploading for YouTube, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm not putting out videos. Definitely nowhere near the caliber that you guys are, as far as, doing it once a week or I don't even upload once a month if I'm lucky. Because I'm making, short films and things like that. and that takes time. So it's not something that I mean, I could probably crank out something once a week if I really wanted to, but
Right.
I don't really have that kind of time right now. So especially right now, making a feature film like that eats up all my time. I think at one point I wanted to get a little ambitious and try uploading like a video or a short like once a month, but that failed pretty miserably just because I'm so critical of myself and I want everything to be perfect. And
Yeah.
I feel like, yeah, that's a big deal. Like, especially with a lot of people, they're very specific on what they want their content to look and sound like. Actually, through Alex's help and even Nate's help, you'd be surprised within your own group of friends that you may know who do this, or within the community itself, how willing people are to help you learn things, find out free resources, online tutorials that you could probably just find on your own. But really, if you find someone who knows what they're doing, they can kind of lead you in that direction. Yeah, that really kind of helps you fine tune some of that look and sound that a lot of people go for. So it's crazy to see how many people are willing to help out with whatever it is, equipment, cameras,
right.
So on and so forth. So that's actually pretty cool.
And I was gonna say, Alex, that recently we've tried to incorporate more like skit things in our
I
videos, and just from that alone, then that's kind of like my perspective on what you do, and just like how hard it is to light every shot like decently so that it's fairly even. And just like the minor stuff like that, to make like a 2-minute skit on our channel is just so much more time than anything like I could have ever imagined. And we actually did try and make a short film, and then we really found out how hard it is to like shoot outside, deliver lines, and not sound
especially
like a complete
because
jackass.
you guys were doing everything. You had no crew.
No,
it was you guys did all the acting. You guys did the filming. You guys were recording sound. Like it's
a process.
tough. Yeah, it's rough, especially if you don't have a ton of experience in it. Like it's not easy. I mean, you can pull it off. Honestly, it'll probably suck.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's tough.
There were times where we brought out a laptop with us so we could plug in our Blue Snowball mic to use as our like audio recording mic.
That's kind of epic.
So I would be like behind the camera holding a laptop, holding the Blue Snowball microphone so that we could record audio for the scene.
I had no idea you guys were doing that.
Yeah, that's how like the level of ambition we were trying to go for, and it was gonna be to the point where I was gonna just like hold up a mic stand the whole time as sort of like a pseudo boom.
Yeah.
Nice.
I could definitely relate to a lot of that because the early portion of my channel was really focused on fishing and being outdoors, you know, that kind of stuff. So like Alex said, when you really get out there, you really start to learn what works and what doesn't. I learned real quick facing the sun is a bad idea with the camera. It's there's so much glare, you can't see far because all the shadows. You learned real quick what does and doesn't work outside.
The cloudy days shooting outside are your best friend. Every single time.
And along with what Nate was talking about with the laptop outside and this, and the microphone, just imagine me by myself. I have all this equipment, not only camera equipment and sound equipment, but fishing stuff. I'm by myself at this little lake, probably outside Michigan City, and I'm leaning over this little ledge where the water kind of meets the, the land, and I have my fishing pole out over here, my right hand, camera on the left hand, and I'm dragging this lure that I'm trying to do like a tutorial video on, and I'm just walking across the bank all by myself. I'm leaning over the water. People probably who live in the
looking like a lunatic.
That's basically what it looked like.
What the hell is he doing?
Yeah. So like it's definitely tough. There's a lot of work putting into YouTube, even at a small scale. I mean, it doesn't really. I don't think it matters how big you are. I mean, yeah, the big guys have teams, but for us starting off small, it's a lot of work. Yeah. It's a lot more work than you think for a 3-minute video, because that's probably at least 3 or 4 hours of work. Depending on what you're doing and where you're at. There's always obstacles you have to work around.
That's one of the things that's kind of driven me away from doing my movie review channel. Is just it's something I know I can do. Shreddy's, yes. For those who don't know, I wanted to do a movie review channel called Shreddy's Takes, and there's no reason I couldn't have done it, but I'm doing a podcast now, so it's probably delayed indefinitely for the time being. But just videos, they take forever to make. Shooting them, it's really the editing that takes the most time, I guess you would say. So that's really what's driven me away from it right now. You know, especially making a feature. I'm like, should I be doing shreddy takes, or, you know, should I be focusing on this movie that I've been working on for 5 years?
Right. Or hanging out with out with us.
Or hanging out with you guys.
Why don't you give us a little insight into the process of like cashing out and how it came to be, and what it was like shooting, and just like the editing side.
So basically, I wrote a script for school back in 2013. It was called Double Down, and it was kind of the similar story as what Cashing Out is now, as far as a kid who, well, like a mid-20s kid, not like a kid. He wants to, you know, be like this really awesome gambler, but he's got some family issues going on. So I wrote the script, and then I ended up winning an award for it. The BEA Awards, Broadcast Education Association. I got an honorable mention award, and I got to pitch the script to Hollywood agents.
Ooh.
Yes. Just for a pitch session, not like, you know, I went to Hollywood and they're like, oh, come bring us your script, Shreddy. Let's hear what you got to say. But it was terrifying because we all had to do it on a stage. You know, in front of like a crowd.
And these are people you don't know other than your peers, right?
People that I don't know. Like even the people I went to school with, I didn't even know them. I met them that weekend. I was the only person that I knew, you know, because I went by myself, you know. And then just, you know, there's people, well, I knew my teacher, my professor. So I'm having to pitch to these 3 people who are real agents, you know, people who represent Hollywood talent. And I'm just like, oh, shit, you know, like I'm terrified. So the original title of Cashing Out was Keep It Vegas. So that's the title I ran under that I pitched it to them. It didn't go so well. One of the things I'll never forget from the pitch is that they asked me, what makes it different from Rounders? I don't know if you guys ever seen Rounders.
I'm unfamiliar.
It's a poker movie with Matt Damon. But so, you know, I thought about that for years. And then just one day it hit me. I was like, I'm going to add the robbing poker aspect, robbing poker games. So I rewrote the script because from 2014 until I want to say 2016, I wrote like several drafts of the script, and then I just kind of gave up on it. I was working on other projects, so I'm like, I'm just not even going to bother. So then I decided, well, I figured out the robbing poker games aspect, wrote that script, and I loved the script. Other people I gave the script loved the script. I had to make some tweaks to it, obviously, but then, you know, wrote what it became today. And then I started casting people in January of last year, 2017. I found my main actor. I already had some actors who I've been working with for years, so I'm just like, you know, hey, you get this.
I was going to say, you definitely have like a Kevin Smith universe thing going on, where a lot of your short films and stuff that I've seen always feature the same actors and actresses.
Did you meet these people from school?
Some of them I met from school. Most of the people who I work with behind the scenes I met in school, or I met them through mutual friends or just looking up on Facebook, things like that.
Right.
A lot of my actors I found through either working on other projects from friends or Facebook. So a lot of the people who I work with consistently, most of them were Facebook finds until, you know, we started working together. So there's no real reason why I continue to work with the same people. It's just I find their strengths and weaknesses, and I just kind of, you know
how to work with them.
I know how to work with them. Yeah. So I'm like, I think you'd fit for this part that I, you know, want to do, and you for this. And then everybody else, I kind of just had to fill in the holes. So Facebook is like 90% of my casting where I found them.
So when you rolled into the shooting for Cashing Out, how many people were like on set with you crew wise?
Crew wise, some days it was me and one other person. Some days we'd have like 6 or 7 maybe. So I was the main cinematographer, and then one of our mutual friends was a co-cinematographer. So she did like, I want to say I probably did like 75, and then she did the other 25%. So I was shooting most of it too, as well as directing. And then I had a script supervisor who was there most of the time. She was awesome. I had a couple PAs, you know, the people to do like the slate and things like that. But there were points where sometimes it would just be me. You know, like if I had like a lot of car scenes that we shot, so I'd just grab the camera and the actor and be like, hey, let's go shoot this real quick. You know, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it really just depended. Preferably, I'd like to have at least 5. That would be for an easy day if I had 5.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and then I have the sound recordist, my sound recordist that I found for this movie, who I appreciate very much because they saved me a lot of headaches whenever I was on
Give
set.
him a shout out.
It is Josh Beck, and Graham Gibson.
Hey, Josh. Hey, Graham.
Yes, both my friends from Greenwood.
We know they're listening.
Yeah, they will be listening. So yeah, they're awesome. My whole crew is awesome. I couldn't do it without them.
Yeah. So when did you start shooting?
We started shooting, I think it was the last weekend of February of 2017. We did one weekend and then we had to take a couple weeks off. I got a lot of horror stories on this movie, but I had an actress who had to move out of state like sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, well, I should probably try and film some of her parts like before she goes. So I'm like, all right, we need to get this part done like right now. And then we just kind of took a break, but we officially started in March of 2017.
And how long did you actually shoot for?
We shot until June. I have a pickup scene I have to do still. But we shot from March until June. We probably shot 8 or 9 days every month.
Okay. So it was obviously not like a Hollywood production where the shoots are real quick.
No, I wish. I mean, it's still pretty fast. I mean, 3 months for this kind of project. Like, I've never been on something that's taken less than 6 months to shoot. And we shot it in 3.
Yeah.
So, like for me, maybe 2 or 3 hours. Nate mentioned that he does about 4 to 6 hours for a video.
Yeah.
Per day, or what's a short day for you guys? What's a long day for you guys?
Short days were typically, I don't think we shot less. I mean, there were days where we'd only shoot like 1 or 2 scenes, just like something real quick, like the car scenes that I mentioned. So we'd only shoot for a couple hours. But a short day, I would say, was 10 hours.
Wow.
And a long day was 12 or 14.
So you're doing what you do, your professional job, and then you have this job too,
Yes.
which is hopefully going to be the professional job for you. But it's a
So-
long time.
A weekend that I like to remind everybody of was the weekend where at my professional job, a couple of my coworkers, they had to go out of town. And it was a big weekend. That was Beauty and the Beast weekend.
Oh.
I'm sure you guys can figure out which coworkers I'm talking about.
I know
One of
them.
them who worked on my film. I'm not giving them shit, but I'm just...
Yeah, you are. It's okay.
So that weekend, Friday, I closed, so 6 to 3. Saturday, woke up at 6, shot from 7 until 3, came back to work from 5 to 1, and then went and shot 7 to 7 the next day, Sunday.
Nice brutal weekend for you.
Yeah,
Huh?
it was rough.
Yeah. I could only imagine how intense that would be.
Honestly, like, just coming back to work was kind of rough, but I mean, the shooting, like, once I'm in the zone, I don't even think about anything. Like, I'm there to get things done.
Yeah.
So you've shot the movie.
Yep.
We're all wrapped up.
Yep.
And you're also editing the movie by yourself for the most part?
Yeah, doing all the picture editing I'm doing by myself, but my sound recordist, Josh, that I mentioned earlier, he's going to be sound mixing the movie as well as doing the score. And I also have a colorist the colorist is a person who gives like a look to the movie. They do all the color correcting and also the color grade, which is the actual look. So I haven't worked with him yet. He's going to be doing my trailer here pretty soon. His name is Joel, and
What's up, Joel?
Yeah, what's up, Joel? He's going to be working on that here pretty soon. So I technically have 2 people doing post-production with me, but I'm doing the actual editing right now.
Nice. So if you could just sort of briefly like walk me through what editing for you is like a feature film, how much raw footage did you have to begin with, and because you said you want this movie to be around like 2 hours, right?
Yeah, right now it's at like, without the credits, it's about 154.
Okay. So you're trying to hit that 2 hour mark. Like, what did you start
I don't want
with?
it to be above 2 hours.
Okay.
That was one thing I was afraid of, because my first cut was 2 hours and 35 minutes.
Right. And
nobody's gonna watch trust me, nobody's gonna watch my movie at 2:35.
Sorry.
I don't even want to watch my movie at 2:35. I don't expect other people to do it.
Yeah.
I don't know how many hours of footage we got. I could probably calculate it, but we shot so much footage that I had to start compressing it because I would shoot in RAW. And I don't know how big the files were. I think it's like 7 gigabytes every 10 seconds or something like that.
Dang.
Yeah, that's a lot. So like I had about a 500 gigabyte card that shot 90 minutes of footage. So whatever that calculates out to. And right now I have 8 terabytes of footage, but that's with compressed and the raw footage. I would say probably we shot 12 terabytes of actual raw footage. Yeah,
That's honestly insane.
it is insane.
And then on top of all of the raw footage and the editing you've been doing, you also one of your computers.
Yeah, I had a computer just completely crap out on me. The motherboard, I'm gonna guess it was, and I don't think I told you guys this yet, but I actually sold the broken one.
Oh, you did?
I did sell the broken
Nice.
one for parts for $150. I spent $1,800 on that computer, sold it for $150.
Yeah, but
Well,
it's
at least
just-
you got something.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Especially with that.
and I'm selling the RAM and the keyboard and the mouse separately, so I'll probably get like 400.
Just sell on
altogether.
Amazon, like you guys said earlier.
eBay.
Yeah, or eBay. Sure.
eBay. My stuff is selling fast on eBay right now.
People want those Apple products.
They
They're hot.
do, I guess. Yeah.
All right. So I had a question.
Yeah.
Feedback. How is your feedback for the show? Because I know you've only let a certain amount of people.
Yeah.
Is that correct? or
I've
no?
had like I want to say 5 or 6 people have watched it and give me feedback. So the feedback from the first cut was a little mixed. I was kind of surprised about a lot of things. But I just, whatever. It is what it is. I can't control how people think about whatever they think. But there's a lot of, I'd say it's like 75% positive, maybe 25% negative, which, I thought it was amazing. So I'm thinking like, oh, it's going to be 90% positive
Yeah.
and they're only going to think, but it's not like that because this is not my dreams. This is real life. So
But at least you have those people who are willing to be honest
yeah,
with you.
yeah. And I really,
And be your close friends. I mean, that's like a big deal.
Right.
Honestly, from people you trust, I think goes a
yeah,
long
so
way.
that's really important. One of the things I did is I made a survey on certain aspects of the movie. So they took that survey, they watched the movie, took that survey, and then they kind of gave me their own feedback as well. So some of the acting they were concerned about, some story points they said didn't make sense, and I could give you reasons for everything of why I did everything, and it's not really an excuse.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't like making up excuses. I do have explanations for every single thing that's wrong with this movie, but whether or not you agree with it is your opinion.
Yeah, but it's also your first actual feature, so
Right.
of course not everything's going to work out exactly as planned.
Right. For how little money I shot it for, and our scheduling and being able to put together a movie of this size the way I did, it's going to have flaws, and
Right.
I'm perfectly okay with that.
Yeah. So Nate, what kind of feedback with your channel? We're switching gears a little bit from
Sure.
the feature film
Uh,
to the YouTube.
YouTube.
Yeah. I would guess, and I've seen some of the comments, but feedback is all over the place. Would you agree?
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, most of the time it is just there are positive comments. If people comment at all, it's really hard to get engagement going on YouTube, especially for a really small channel. Especially with the algorithm and all this stuff that I could get into and go on and on about YouTube for a long time. But most of the time, pretty positive comments. Usually only when we have like a controversial opinion do we get like real negative stuff. Like our Spider-Man Homecoming review, it's no secret. We all pretty much didn't like that movie. And
Yeah, we noticed that from the title.
yeah. Well, you gotta be a little clickbaity when you're a small channel to get people to watch your videos. So
I mean, it's not like your clickbait is like
Super
your false
outrageous.
you're not false advertising. Like
Yeah.
you just
I'm
happen
not.
to put your opinion right in the title.
we don't mislead,
Right.
we intrigue.
Right.
So people are like, "Oh, you said it sucks. We're gonna watch your video."
Right.
That like our Spider-Man Homecoming video ranged from like people being like, "Wow, you guys had some really thought out opinions," and then of course fanboys saying, "We hope you die,"
Right.
and all of that stuff. Which of course, like I don't take any of that seriously because it's anonymous comments on the
Right.
internet.
And I was just going to ask you, how do you kind of ride those waves of, positive and negative, comments? A lot of them either are just, like you said, they're just either brainless comments, or a lot of people are riding high on emotion to kind of say, hey, this is what I think of the show. Like, how do you guys handle that?
we respond to almost every single one of our comments, but we never we don't feed into people acting like that. If it's a genuine criticism, which most of the time I find it's really not, it's just sort of someone just angry that we have a different opinion than them, which is fine.
Right.
So with comments like that, it's really just kind of like we respond to them in sort of a thoughtful way, and we just kind of I don't know, maybe troll them back a little bit,
Yeah.
but
Always have a little fun with it.
Yeah, most of the time they don't engage back. They just are there to leave that one comment and then they're gone. So
Yeah.
it's really not a big deal. Most of the comments though, there's only been a few times where I've actually gotten people being like, "Hey, I think this video is too bright." Which, in that case, if it's like a genuine criticism, of course I'm going to listen to it. I'm going to take it into account. A lot of my action figure reviews that I do are filmed with a white background. So the brightness of some of my videos gets kind of wonky, and then I don't realize it until it's way too late, especially
Right.
because you take your raw footage, you put it into your editing software. Your editing software can brighten it or darken it depending on what it wants to do. And then YouTube also brightens videos when you upload them to YouTube.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
it's a very slight difference, but it's
YouTube rant right now. I am so sick of YouTube changing all the damn colors on my videos.
Yes.
Because I color things very specifically and then I upload it.
Yeah, I didn't know
And then, yeah, a lot of my videos, they look very bad because they change, their compression algorithm is just all sorts of
Yeah,
jacked
if
up.
you really want true 1080p on YouTube, you pretty much have to be uploading your videos in 2 or 4K to have a really good 1080p look.
Wow.
For me, for our videos, the YouTube 1080p I think is absolutely fine. I have no problems with it at all. But for people who are looking for higher quality stuff,
Yeah.
if you export your videos in 1080, they're going to be sub 1080 by the time they
Right.
end up on YouTube.
Yeah.
Regardless of what it's says that it's 1080.
Right. And that's what I notice a lot with my videos. I'll put it on Wondershare, export 1080p, and when I watch them, even we've joked about it before, they look like they're, 420 or something, just
Yeah.
what's going on with these, there's just a crazy difference between what it looks like on your computer, which looks awesome, to the
Yep.
final product once it's uploaded.
And especially if you're bouncing between mobile, desktop, your
yeah.
TV, the quality is going to range drastically. Same thing with it's so hard to make a perfect thumbnail
Yeah,
these days because of the timestamp is a different size on every single
Oh my
different platform. So
I've noticed that too. Just a lot of my thumbnails, I've been getting tips and tricks from you guys, so I appreciate that. But a lot of the stuff that I've been trying to put on, you notice you really want to blow up and grab that attention. That's your attention getter.
Yep.
But when I actually upload and create it I use Canva.com. That's a free website. You can create your own stuff. So anyone listening out there, free.
I just got to give
Free.
you Photoshop.
Yeah, free stuff.
Yeah, let's let them borrow Photoshop.
Yeah.
Legally borrow
Legally
Photoshop.
borrow.
But I use Canva.com. But the font, it looks, you obviously that's something I have to adjust. You can make it bigger or smaller as you need to. But
Right.
even after you've put it on font level 100, sometimes the thumbnail stuff, once it transfers over, whatever YouTube does, even the thumbnails are kind of changed somehow. So I don't know. I just noticed there's a lot of differences between the pre and then the upload.
Yep. And it's definitely stuff that's really hard to find a solid answer about.
Yeah.
Because YouTube tells you absolutely nothing about.
They're very good at telling you nothing.
So, there's no real concrete evidence on how to prevent a lot of this stuff that happens. You just kind of have to wing it and go with the experience of just being on the platform for a long time.
Right. So back to feedback, I guess as far as my community goes, I'm surprised how engaged, even though like I said, I have a smaller channel, but the 5 or 6 people who watch routinely
Yeah.
comment routinely, and then you kind of get these, other people kind of join in every once in a while. But usually the community is very like they're very open. They're very,
Yeah.
hey, what about this? What do you think of that? Let's do a bottle share, with the beer reviews and stuff. There's a guy that I watch. Shout out to Sean from Draft Therapy. If you're,
What's up, Sean?
What's up, Sean?
What's
if you're
up,
listening
Sean?
to this podcast, him and I have been chatting back and forth. He's from Michigan. Does mostly Michigan beer reviews. Awesome stuff. You can check him out on Draft Therapy on YouTube. But yeah, just the community is so like, hey, let's hang out. Hey, let's do this. Hey,
Yeah.
the engagement is actually it's pretty awesome. I talk to guys now from Rhode Island. I have some guys from Baltimore that I chat with regularly. Whether on social media or on the YouTube comments, and it's actually kind of
Yeah.
cool to kind of meet these people,
And
that you didn't know before.
Yeah, and it's silly to say, but it's always a nice feeling when you see those people. You start to recognize those people who are commenting on your videos frequently. You're just like, oh, this is like really cool. This is like someone who
Right.
is actually like, hey, I enjoy your content. I don't just watch one video, because you also get a lot of those people who they watch one of your videos, comment like, wow, great video.
and then you
Ch-
never
check
see
out
them
check out
again.
my channel.
Yeah, exactly.
Or like that kind of stuff. They're trying to give you a pat on the back so that you go check out their content.
Right.
And which, I mean, certainly I'm guilty of that too, but I mean,
When you're engaging in the community, I think it's like a good, I guess, like be noticed without being annoying.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So be
Exactly.
genuine. I think that's a big thing too. So I have noticed that a lot. I kind of done that. I talked to some other, small level YouTube people, and they say, hey, this is what I do. And it's very similar to that without being too over the top or too pushy. Hey, check out my channel only.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I think it's good to kind of have that engagement between people that you actually find interesting. And then there's a lot of beer reviewers out there who I don't watch. I mean,
Right.
I've seen a few of their videos. I'm like, meh, I don't want to watch these guys. But the ones that I do watch, I try to engage with pretty regularly.
yeah,
So
I definitely agree with you there.
yeah, I think it just, I mean, I don't know. I think it's cool that you kind of have that. I don't know if you guys do this, but I use Instagram a lot to do advertising, kind of like in quotes, advertising for the channel.
Yeah, that's what I was going to bring up, was something that I feel like a lot of people don't realize. That's the other side of trying to get your videos out there in front of people is the aspect of social media. Out of the basement, we use Twitter and Instagram mainly. We did have a Facebook page, but Facebook is an actual dumpster fire. So
Facts.
yeah, and especially if you're running a like page on Facebook, no one's gonna see your posts unless you're paying money.
I was saying, you have to pay for that, ain't it?
So we
Yep.
just
They changed everything now.
I
yeah.
thought they were free for everybody. We're never going to sell out.
Yeah, so we just said, nope, got rid of the Facebook page, completely deleted that, only use Twitter and Instagram.
Yeah, I'm starting to worry if I should continue posting on Facebook about cashing out stuff. Because, like,
Yeah.
I got people liking the page, but I have no idea if anybody's seeing it. My last couple of posts, because I started blogging, I don't think anybody engaged in the blog post, because I don't know if they can see it.
Right, and that's another thing about just Facebook in general is when you're sharing a link in a post, you get penalized. Like the algorithm really favors you posting a video or posting a picture. As far as I'm aware of the Facebook algorithm at this point, like if you're posting a link, especially a link to another website, the Facebook algorithm just buries that.
So if you're trying to promote your own page,
Yeah.
your YouTube page on
Yeah.
Facebook, it's going to bury it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
And
F you, basically.
yeah, and you can definitely see that, especially if you run a like page, because you can see the analytics. But Facebook's terrible, so we moved off of that platform. Instagram going it's how it's non-chronological anymore. I feel like that was a really big mistake, but I feel like as long as you've got a decent hashtag game going
Right. I feel that's
on
big.
Oh, yeah.
on Instagram, then you're going to be fine with getting at least like some sort of like engagement, whether it's just likes or maybe a
Right.
couple comments.
Now, let me ask you guys this, because when I was posting a lot of pictures for cashing out, I found that I was getting a lot more engagement from like actors and fellow filmmakers and things like that.
Yeah.
Now, would you rather have that or like engagement from fans? because I stopped using a lot of the hashtags that I was using, like, you know, hashtag filmmaker, things like that, because the only people who were engaging were other filmmakers. And those are the kinds of people you were talking about who are just like, hey, I'm going to like your page, like me back. And then I'm just going to unfollow you afterwards. You know?
Yeah.
Those people, definitely people who follow for follow, all that stuff. I mean, as like out of the basement, we're all pretty hard lined against that. Just because it's not genuine, and it's just going to end up looking bad for you at the end of the day. Whether you have a ton of followers and no engagement.
Yeah, I've been trying to weed out all of those kinds of people.
Yeah.
Like if I see somebody who follows me and I'm like, they're just doing this, to gain followers, I'm just like, no, I'm not even gonna bother.
Yeah. Which, I mean, for some people that does end up working out for them, and then they do get a fan base from being super annoying early on. But that is just not who.
Yeah.
But then they have 5 billion people that they're following.
Yeah.
On top of the 40,000 that are following them back.
Yeah, and then they're getting like a couple hundred likes a picture.
Right. If that.
Yeah. So that's always something that I'm conscious of and I want to avoid. And people who do comment stuff like that, we usually we'll straight up just be like, we don't do that. Like I'm just open and honest about it. Like, I don't want people to watch my content that's just watching it so that I'll watch their content in return.
Right.
Like, if you enjoy my stuff, watch it. If you don't, then I don't have a problem with you not watching it. Like, you're not going to hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
And so, like, with the power of social media, I don't know. That was what was really surprising about me, especially Instagram. It's a very active community. Obviously, there's niches for everything.
Oh,
so,
yeah. It's everywhere.
You get people seeing your videos when you're, like, if we're talking about horror movies or just talking about specific action figures or something, then you get those people who genuinely do go and check out your videos, and then that's cool, and they end up liking your stuff.
Those are the kinds of people who I want to interact with more, but I just haven't been able to find that yet. Like,
Right.
I have a pretty decent following locally, but just branching out beyond that has been super tough.
Yeah. I think for me, Nate and I talked about this when I first started my Instagram page, was just post stuff.
Yep.
Just post stuff, get it out there, once a day, every other day, whatever it is that your page is about, if it's linked to a, YouTube page or another Twitter account or whatever it is that you're trying to get people to, you're trying to direct people to, as long as you're posting relevant things consistently. Nate said the hashtag game, that's a big deal. It almost seems like a second job just trying to learn all the new trendy hashtag
is.
names because, I mean, with the beer craft scene, I mean, you think there's, just beer, craft beer, I love craft beer. There is a whole dictionary's worth of hashtags that you could sit there and type out every day. I wish I could copy and paste them. Good thing the mobile thing has the hashtag right there in the corner as opposed to go finding it out. But anyway, just being consistent, I think, is, really a really good plan of attack to try to direct people to your YouTube page or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And
it sucks because you have to ride that fine line of like, am I being really annoying? Am I annoying the people that I'm friends with in real life? And they're just like, okay, are you going to post something else that's not just about, your content or like whatever you do?
Yeah.
And I definitely, like for me, I feel that way a lot. Like, I barely ever post like links out for my stuff. Very rarely.
Yeah.
Just because I don't want to be that annoying person.
Yeah.
But I also feel like that it does genuinely help.
Yeah. I think Instagram, I don't feel as bad, putting out links or reminders, hey, my video's dropping. Because I feel like that's kind of like the Wild West. It's just it's just out there. Everything is out there. People can see it if they want to watch it or not. That's totally up to them.
Right.
I also kind of do, I drop links in my personal Facebook page. I do feel like maybe that gets a little annoying for some of my friends who, who cares? I don't care about this stuff. A lot of my friends are more sports oriented. They're more kind of into that kind of stuff or politics or whatever it is that they're into. Some of that they don't care about craft beer, and that's fine. But I also have gained a few viewers through so-and-so who knows so-and-so who does like craft beer. So that, that's a little bit, that's helped a little bit, but not as much as like Instagram has. I think there's a little bit more of a reach, a little bit more people are a little bit more receptive to it, especially on that, because they know what they're looking for. If you're not tagging those people, the people who aren't looking for those tags aren't going to see that stuff. It's the people who are kind of searching for, scary
Right.
movies or movie reviews
yeah.
or whatever.
Instagram definitely has a very good algorithm, like in terms of like honing in on your interests. So like, like if I go onto the explore side of Instagram, it's pretty much all like action figures, horror movies,
Right.
movie stuff in general. But yeah, that's why, I mean, obviously I use an out of the basement account for Instagram, and I also have an out of the basement account for Twitter. And I don't really use my personal account to like show that stuff off.
Right.
Very, very occasionally. Like if it's a movie review or something that I think that like more than a few people are going to be interested in, like I'll share it on my personal Twitter or something. But like, I know no one cares about action figures, so I'm not.
Hey, I'm the one guy who does like that stuff.
Like I know that people aren't trying to watch that, so I'm not going to torture people who are following me with like, beating them over the head with links to stuff.
I did try that approach with Twitter, like just trying to make a straight cashing out Twitter page.
Yeah.
And it failed so miserably
Oh yeah.
that I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to turn this in, because I deleted my Twitter account over the summer, like my personal one. And then I tried the cashing out one, and I'm like, okay, it was like 2 or 3 months. I got maybe 2 followers. One of those followers was one of the actresses in the movie. So I'm like, there's no sense in me doing this.
Right.
So it's interesting that you say that. I thought about maybe doing an Instagram account for cashing out, but I've done so much promotion just from myself that I just don't feel like it makes sense anymore.
Yeah.
And
I mean, if that's the approach you take, then I mean, that's
it's not what I want to do. It's just easier, I guess,
right.
if that makes sense.
Because it sounds really dumb to say that like posting on social media is hard, but like sitting there and trying to like craft a post.
Right.
Like I'll sit there on Instagram and I'll type out like the bio for the picture I'm typing, and then I'm like, oh, I don't like that. So then I delete it all, try and write something again to like try and post something that's like, gonna grab some attention.
Right. All attention getters, really.
Yeah.
That's what a lot of
without
times.
being super annoying.
Right.
So Steve, I think you had some more questions that you brought up that you wanted to talk about.
Yeah, I think I can't remember what it was off the top of my head right now. You're right. I should have wrote it down. You're right.
I said write it
You
down.
Write it down.
Write it down.
Yeah. So I guess where do you guys, with Out of the Basement, where do you guys decide what movies to watch to review on the show, as opposed to like there's a few that I thought would be on the show that never showed up.
Like what?
Well, for instance, Black Panther.
Okay.
So I talked to your co-host Justin, and I was kind of asking, and it's just I felt like that was just going to be one of the the ones that's going to be on there because it's part of the series that we've all seen, all the Marvel movies,
Yeah.
and a lot of those get covered by you guys. So what helps you decide what goes on the show and what doesn't?
I think especially with that specifically, because also we didn't review Thor Ragnarok either.
Okay.
And I think that is just a general shift of our interests. Because I personally have been feeling, you guys know me, you've known me for a long time, super obsessed with comic book movies and Star Wars and all that stuff. But like, something has happened. The burnout is real, especially for superhero movies. With last year, Spider-Man Homecoming was really sort of like the tipping point. So just the general uninterest has just like, well, I don't really want to talk about it because I don't really have anything else to say other than like, it's probably the same Marvel movie you've been watching for a
Cut
couple of
and
years.
paste.
How many times can you talk about the same thing in people? Yeah, I mean, it doesn't make any sense.
Exactly. So I think we moved away from talking really hardcore about superhero movies just in general.
Okay.
We just kind of are tired of it. We're tired of them all being the very exact same. Obviously, we're going to still talk about the big ones. Like I don't think, there's no chance that we're not going to do a review for like Infinity War or something that's really big. It definitely, and it also helps to just, like review something super popular because granted, a lot of other people are going to be reviewing it too, but
Get them views, boy.
yes, there's also the view side of things where like, well, people will probably want to see this, the Spider-Man Homecoming review we did, granted it was a bad review, it was one of our most viewed videos, period.
Right.
So just sort of, it's like you got to strike a balance between stuff that you actually want to do and then stuff you think your viewers are going to want to see from you. So with that sort of stuff, the Thor Ragnarok, Black Panther, I didn't even see either of those movies at all. And so it just gets to the point where we just want to review movies we really like, or if we watch a movie and think it's, really bad or silly, something like recently Demon House, the documentary, we did a review of that. And
You guys want to go?
yeah, and kind of
It's not there anymore, bro. How we
Oh, they
gonna
tore it
go?
down?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they tore it down.
All right, fine,
That's the
let's-
climax of the movies. They
Dude,
tore it down.
Spoilers.
Spoiler!
Oh, there we
I
go.
thought everybody knew that.
Real life
I
spoilers.
thought that was common knowledge.
Yeah.
Um,
Shreddy's takes.
Oh, Shreddy's review. They tore it down. This movie's shit.
so just trying to figure out like what we're trying to do, because I mean, yeah, we are kind of like transitioning our content right now in terms of like we want to talk about like independent movies and like smaller stuff that's
Cashing out
definitely
2018,
Yeah, right.
2019.
that's where our interests are sort of heading. And so that's just kind of how it is. The superhero game is just getting really tired.
Right.
Even like Star Wars, I'm a huge Star Wars fan, and and like again, like I'm not excited to see Solo. I think it looks bad, but we're probably gonna see it and do a review of it because then we can put "it sucks" in the title and get some clicks. I'm just being honest here.
Right.
So, I hope that movie is good, and I think that's what a lot of people are also like. They're like, well, why would you see something if you're uninterested in it or if you think it's going to suck? Like, well, I still am a fan of movies. I still love film in general. So I will see stuff that I have a mild interest in, and I hope for the best. Like, I don't want Han Solo to suck.
Right.
A lot of people, will be like, oh, well, you just want it to be bad. And, like, that's a common theme with any movie that we give a bad review to, is a lot of the comments will end up being like, well, you just wanted to hate it from the beginning, so you didn't give it a chance. Like, I give every movie a chance. I go in most of the time no hype. I mean, I'm certainly guilty of it. Star Wars The Last Jedi. I really soured on that movie. I was really hyped on it for a long time, but then I came to my senses.
Right.
But so when people make comments like that, it's like, I don't want any movie to be bad. Like, I really don't. I want every movie to be good, and if I have a good time, I'm going to be honest about it, and if I have a bad time, I'm going to be completely honest about it.
Right.
And I think a lot of people, especially people when you get into like fan bases and stuff, don't see like having a different opinion.
Right.
They're very uniform, and I mean, that's what a fanboy is, but
Yeah.
I just don't see how, you just can't disagree and be like, okay, yeah,
Right.
we don't see eye to eye.
Well,
so,
right. And I think that's part of the problem too. Like I said earlier, like a lot of people work off emotion and they just get so worked up that they can't have a conversation. They want to have a debate, but they're not going to listen to the other side. So,
That's the age brand now.
and exactly. But the thing about it is like I think those people need to take a step back, whether you agree or disagree with the conversation, and have one.
Right.
Have a conversation. This is why I don't like it. And I mean, perfect example is I mentioned a few. I think it was one of your reviews. We talked about how Star Wars. I wish there was a little bit more lightsaber scenes, and fighting and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And then you guys were like, "Well, this isn't from," but you guys cracked a joke. But we also had a discussion in the comments
Yeah.
about why I liked what I liked from the old, from the originals, and what I wanted more from, in the newer films. And that was something that we were able to have a discussion about, and not so much, oh, well, you're just going to make fun of me because I'm older than you guys and I need to go watch the old ones. No, like, this is why I like it, and you guys, this is why it's different, and you kind of enlightened me into why the story is going the way it is. So I learned something from that, even though it's a small, or it's a low-level Star Wars stuff. We're talking about just like a movie. We're not talking about changing the world, but I learned something from that because I was like, oh yeah, maybe this is the way the story's going. So I just didn't see that before, and to have that conversation, you kind of learn something, and it's actually cool.
Yeah, and that's what I would really, in a perfect society, want from my audience is, if you disagree, let's have a discussion about it. We don't
Right.
need to call each other names. Like,
Right.
that's the one thing that will really tick me off. Will really tick me off is if someone they're trying to argue a point, but then they're also name calling. I'm just like,
Right.
okay, argue your point, but leave the insults out of it, because I can, like, when I comment
Everyone can
back
play
to
that
people.
game. Yeah.
Like, name calling's easy.
Hey, you don't like Spider-Man? Well, you're an idiot.
Yeah. Like, that's super easy to comment, but like
That's the censored version, by the way.
Right.
Yeah.
Read the comments for the real version.
The comments on our Spider-Man Homecoming video are honestly terrible. Like, horrible, disgusting,
imagine.
vile people just
Yeah.
commenting the worst stuff. But like, I want there to be a discussion. I don't think that name calling solves anything, or like instantly going to just general insults. Like, if you don't like the movie or you like the movie, tell me why, and I'll tell you why, and we'll have a nice conversation about it, because I just want to talk about movies.
Yeah.
That's all I really want.
Yeah.
That's all. Like, that's one of my favorite things to do, talk about movies with people. So
Right.
that's what I want. And whether you agree or disagree, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a crime.
Right. I think a lot of the bigger podcasts and other YouTubers that we watch that have, tons of subscribers, you kind of see the comment section. You just scroll down, after you watch a video, and you just see
Yeah.
I mean, it's that everyone is just out for blood in the comment section. And
Absolutely.
it is. Some of them are funny, I mean, I get a
Yeah.
good laugh out of some of the comments, but sometimes it's just vile, like there's no intelligence down there. If you scroll down to the comments, it's all just dumb stuff, and it's like, where do you weed out? Is it even worth trying to weed out some of the comments to maybe have a conversation with someone else other than the original poster?
Yeah.
But I'm
And-
just glad that my channel and at least the beer community itself, they're not that bad. Actually, like I said, everyone's pretty welcoming. Hey, let's hang out, let's talk. You don't really get a lot of that unless you're someone who really has no clue what you're talking about when it comes to, to the craft beer stuff, or
Right.
But even then, I mean, that's all subjective. It's all opinion. Hey, what do you taste? What do you But
Exactly.
that does not translate down. The crazy people who want to comment and just rip you a new one. That doesn't really happen a lot in some of the beer
You
channels.
should
Which
do-
it's different though.
One video, and it's going to be like 10 seconds long. Just say, Bud Light
It is the greatest.
sucks.
See what happens.
Yeah, we all know. Yeah, I would probably get a knock on my door from InBev or Bush Miller
Yeah.
or something.
And certainly with like big channels like that, I completely understand why they don't respond to any comments or anything like that, because it's just a cesspool.
Yeah.
And it certainly gets like that. Like, for instance, we also gave Jeepers Creepers 3 a really bad review because it's a terrible movie and the director is a horrible person.
The comments on that video were classic.
The people that go the length to actually defend the director, who is a convicted,
Pedophile.
actually served time and is a pedophile, like, people defending him. And I'm just like,
Nope.
nope.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not even gonna engage with this. I'm just gonna leave it there.
But it's a good movie, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Jeepers.
like, when it gets to that point, I'm just like, oh,
Yeah.
like, this is insane.
So with you guys in your channel, you guys go out and do, you do DVD hauls or DVD hunts, what do you guys call them? What's the exact
I mean,
phrase?
yeah, we just call
Okay.
them hunting trips.
So when you guys are out in public and you're recording, do you kind of get like a little bit of, those weird looks, or hey, what are you doing?
You know, I was curious about that myself. Like, do you just walk into Best Buy with your camera and they're just like, cool, bro, I guess.
yeah,
you
or
know?
sir,
Or
you
are
need
they
to
just-
take that outside.
Yeah, like, oh man, what are they going to do? What kind of crazy prank are they going to pull right now?
Yeah, I've never really noticed anyone looking at us like super weird, but it's definitely a very awkward experience. And you can notice if you watch any of our vlogs, like when we're in a store, we're like whisper quiet.
Yeah.
Like, we're just like, okay, here it is. Like, look at this. And pretty much the only thing we ever look out for is like, is there copyrighted music playing overhead?
Oh yes.
Because then obviously you can't film in there, or you can and just replace the like the
Make that
clips.
track a lot louder.
Yeah. So, but
yeah,
no,
I've been hit with that.
we've never really had anyone say anything to us or give us any weird looks. But we also are extremely respectful.
Sure.
We're
So
not,
no removals from
Yeah.
stores.
we're not trying to be obnoxious or loud or do anything like that. And like smaller stores, we usually will either A, not film in there, or B, like ask like one of the employees and be like, hey,
Yeah.
is this cool?
Kinda
Like,
give 'em a heads up.
Yeah, we don't want to, be like weird in your store. But like if it's a big chain or something, like, you know that no one in there cares. So it's like I'm not gonna.
There's weirder shit going on.
Oh, yeah.
At
like,
Walmart.
Like I'm not
today.
gonna go up to a Walmart employee and be like, "Hey, is it cool if I film in here?" Because
They're like, yeah, you can go down there and do that.
yeah. But
They don't know.
it is an awkward experience to say the least. Just because you think you have that in your mind that like
Right.
everyone's gonna be looking at me because I have my camera out right now and I'm filming a shelf of DVDs. But yeah, no, and I think it just comes with getting more comfortable about filming in public. But
Yeah.
we're kind of shying away from that stuff anyway.
I guess I shouldn't be asking those questions with how many shady places I have filmed without permission
Yeah,
Yeah.
with my giant camera.
But-
And, like a 6-person crew.
but
Hey,
it's
coming through.
Yep.
it's so
Nothing
hard.
to see here, guys. I promise.
It's so hard to like actually track down like the legalities of like where and where you can't film that I just feel like for the most part like
Yep, that's why I have a lawyer.
yeah, it's not really good. Like I would never suspect like, some sort of like lawsuit or anything out of
Right.
anything. Even like stuff like you like filming where you're not supposed to be filming. Like I doubt anyone actually cares to the
Well,
point where they'll track
that's-
you down.
That's part of my reshooting is, the lawyers are getting a little nervous about some of the places where I shot.
Yeah.
So I
But
gotta
also
replace some things.
a
but-
feature film is a lot different than
That
it
is
is
a
a
lot
vlog.
different
Yeah,
than
I
they
feel
used
like
to.
the response is like, let's just move along. Let's get out of here. Go film somewhere else. I think that's most of the response you would get from a lot of places would be, all right, let's go.
Yeah.
Not legal action or here come the cops.
Unless I become a billionaire after this movie.
Yeah.
Well, we'll deal with that.
Yeah, we'll deal with that when the
Yeah,
time comes.
Don't forget your handouts when you.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. I didn't know I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
That's
I
my
promise. Yeah, I mean, that was a lot of like when we were filming our short film. We were like, oh, like hopefully no one like comes by us or like does anything
Yes,
like.
it is very.
Luckily
very,
for us, Indiana does not really have that many laws against filming in public.
Yeah,
Yeah, so pretty much anywhere that's public, you're good to go, unless you're shutting down a street. So if you're just like telling cars, hey, we're filming on this street, for my big short film, you might run into some police trouble.
Ooh, all right.
However, if you're
I'm
just
gonna write that one down.
if you're just filming out in a park,
yeah,
you're pretty much good.
yeah. So, do you guys have any closing remarks in terms of content creation? Final thoughts here?
I think for me, with like we just talked about it being out in the public, I think it's very cool, very very cool to be approached by people you don't know who say, "Hey, I've watched your channel, or I've seen a few of your reviews." I think that's cool, and I think it's I think a big thing for me is to remember not to be too like cocky about it. You know what I mean? Or too like, oh yeah, like I'm on YouTube and you're not. Like
See,
thanks-
I do the exact opposite. I am super cocky.
yeah,
And, I just,
you love it.
I'm a big shot.
You
know?
relish it, yeah.
No, I'm not really like that.
But I just feel like kind of, for those people who do watch, one, I appreciate it. And two, we're so small, like I'm so small scale, if anyone watches, I'm appreciative.
Right.
You know what I mean? I get like 20, 30 views if I'm lucky, The fishing stuff was a lot more, people are a lot more apt to watch, which I thought was cool because the fishing community is huge. I mean,
Right.
that's just a big, big industry in itself. But I always think it's important to maybe just, to stay humble in those moments and just, be appreciative of the people who do, I've only had it happen twice, but the two people who have come up to me, it's just like, hey man, cool. Like, thanks for watching. So
Right.
it kind of gives you validation that it's not just, you watching your own videos. You know what I mean? You're like, people actually do enjoy some of the stuff that you make, and it's kind of cool to kind of hear that feedback. So
Right.
I think that's pretty sweet.
It's got to be a unique feeling. None of us have ever been recognized in public. There are people that have commented on our videos and noticed like, "Hey, I know where that is." Like,
Right.
"Wow, we live close by."
Right.
But then at that point, I'm like, "Please don't show up at my house or something." Like that. Like I always just think about
just
like,
don't ever film the front of your house.
yeah. Well, that's actually
That's out the window?
Yeah, it's out the
Oh,
window.
boy.
Yeah, that's actually how I got approached by one of the viewers who watched my fishing stuff. He said, "Hey, I know where that's at," and I'm just like, "Well, there we go. Got to cut out all my fishing videos now."
Yep.
But
All done.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's been pretty cool about it, and
Yeah, and most of the people we've engaged with are like super cool about it. Like they're not trying to be like, "Oh, I'm gonna stalk you" or anything like that. But that's just the crazy age of the internet and like
Yeah.
how everything is today. Like that is a genuine thing that I do think about, and I'm like, I'm like, I hope people don't find out where I live and just like show up.
Right.
Because that would just, I don't even know what you would do in that situation. Be like, hey, I'm glad you watch my content, but
Get out of here before I
Get
call
off
the
my
police.
property.
but like don't show up.
Yeah.
And that like then that's kind of that is at least a little bit of a factor as to why we're stopping to do the like vlog videos and stuff, because there's just a lot of people that realize where we are.
Yeah.
Granted, it's a big broad area, but still, like, you never know. So
Yeah. There's so much info out there on how to find somebody.
yeah, and plus, like I said earlier, we want to get into more like skits and like just doing like fun stuff that's not necessarily like, oh, we're at a store, look at all these Blu-rays on the shelf, cool, I'm gonna buy this one, great. Like, you know, it's like, how exciting can that really be at the end of the day?
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know, Alex, do you have anything you want to?
I guess my thought is kind of going in a different direction from you guys. As far as creating content, if you are nervous because you don't have like the equipment, or you don't think you'd be a good personality or things like that, like just make stuff.
Just do it.
Yeah. People are going to watch. It's,
Yeah.
It's,
I mean, even if they don't, you'll get better eventually.
right.
I did not
Yeah.
make great content, you know,
We've all been
in
there.
the beginning, and I'm actually going to be talking about that a lot more with my blogs and how bad some of my stuff was in the beginning. I have a lot of horror stories throughout the 15 years that I've been doing this. So I, do it. Just do it.
Yeah. If you've got a smartphone, you've got a YouTube channel.
Yeah, basically.
That,
Yep.
you know, you don't need the mics, you don't need the lights. There's tons of ways that you can just get around all of that stuff. I mean, obviously, it's great if you do have that stuff.
Right.
Certainly helps with your quality, but you don't need any of that. And I think
No.
that's like what the beauty of the internet is you can be a creative person pretty much at this point, no matter what.
Yep.
If you want to do something online, you can just do it.
That is
Yeah.
both a blessing and a curse.
Yes.
I will say.
Well, yes, because obviously there are horrible things on the internet
Yep.
that people want to do, but you know, I'd say as long as no one's getting hurt and you're doing what makes you happy, then hey,
No snuff film, guys.
yeah.
Preferably no snuff films.
So yeah, I think that's gonna about do it for this first episode of the Low Side Podcast.
Very good.
Very good.
Of course, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can reach us at thelowsidepodcast@gmail.com. Hit us up, send us some questions, some topics, anything you want us to talk about in the future. We'll definitely be on the lookout for that. Of course, I'm Nate, and I've been joined with Steve
See you later, guys.
and Alex.
Later, guys.
And you can check out all of our YouTube channels in the description of this video. And we will see you next time on the Low Side Podcast.